Hi, welcome to Kalipso Tutorials. In this tutorial, we'll see how to display and edit a database record. Like so many other features in Kalipso, there's an easy way to create the interface to display and edit a database record. All we have to do is drag and drop the database table from the project tree to the background of an existing form. The same wizard we've seen before comes up and we select the last option, create a form based on a database table with SQL statements. Let's leave all the columns selected and press Next. Let's change the name of our form to Form Product. Press Done, and after a few seconds, Kalipso creates the form we need. Let's take some time to analyze it. It's built up mainly with labels and input boxes, one per each column. To understand how Kalipso fetches a record and displays it, we need to go to the Open Form event. So double-click on the form, Actions, and here's an SQL statement. We'll select all the columns, specifying the target of each one. So we select column code from table products into input code, column name from table products into input name, and so on. The problem is, Kalipso hasn't defined anywhere, so we won't display any specific record, and Kalipso hasn't defined it because it doesn't know which record we want to display. Therefore, we need to find a way to tell him. Let's close all of this. So we want to open this form displaying the record that the user selected on this table. So let's start by opening the form when the user selects a record. Double click on the table, Actions, and either unclick or double click, let's create our show form, and we want the form product that we've just created. Save and save. Let's test the application just to see how it goes. So custom products, and let's click, for instance, on carrots. As expected, the form opens but displays the first record from the products table, regardless of the selected item, which was carrots, because again, there's no where in the SQL statement we've just seen. Let's start by commenting all those message boxes. On the first form, we can simply select them all and press Ctrl B. Same thing on after open form, select Ctrl B. I believe that in our products form we also have a message box. Let's check it out in the opening of the form. Yes, we do. So let's select all of them and comment. Save. So back to our main subject, which is to exchange data between the forms. The first thing we need to do is to find which product code is selected on this table. We can do that with the table get column value action. Let's double click Actions, and before the show form, let's do a table get column value. Let's store the value in the temporary variable 0, which I can rename already to product code. Save. Let's collapse the error management. And now, to pass this value to the new form, we are going to use the already created show form action. Let's take a look at the advanced options of the action. As you can see, we can specify values for the local variables we are about to open. To make it clearer, let's save all the changes we've made, and on the form we are about to open, let's rename local variable 0. Let's call it in product code. Now, if we go back to the table, actions, if we check out the show form action again, advanced options, we will see the renamed variable. So we can now set its content to the content of temporary variable product code. The only thing left is to specify our local variable in the select. So back to the form which displays the record, into the select. Now we can say where product code equals the value of local variable product code. Let's test it again. No more message boxes, that's good. So products, and let's do the same test, carrot, and as you can see, now it displays the record we want. What about saving the data? Let's go back to the designer. Our Kalipso generated form is also ready to save the changes the user makes to the record. Let's see how. When we open the Save button Actions, we see that it's not a simple update being executed. Actually, Kalipso starts by checking if the record exists. He then decides to make either an update or an insert. This can be helpful, but let's focus on making the update for now. I'm going to comment all the unnecessary actions. A commented action, as we've seen before with the variables example, it's an action that exists, but it's not executed. Again, Control B, save. And before we test, I'm going to disable the product code input box by specifying that it's not editable. Save and test. Products. Let's keep on carrots. And I'm going to change the name of this product to something very strange. And I'm going to press save. As you can see, the table isn't refreshed. This doesn't mean that the save wasn't performed. We simply don't see it. If we force the table to refresh by selecting something, we can see that the update was actually made. So the problem we face now is that although our form saves the data, we still need to refresh the table control. The question is when. Back to the designer. We cannot call actions in one form who refer to another because Kalipso forms are modal. This means you can open as many instances as you wish. So it's not possible to refresh the table from this form, but we need to know that one action is only executed when the preceding action ends. This means that if we check out the actions on the table, if we refresh the table after the show form, it will only be executed when the show form ends. And since show form takes control over the application, it only ends when it closes. So our first thought would be to create a refresh control action, but that would be duplicating what we already have in the set selection event of the combo. The correct way is to ask Kalipso to rerun the selection change. To do it so, we call the execute event action to trigger the refresh. So we want to execute the selection change event of combo families right after the show form. So the refresh will occur when the form ends. Save, and let's try it. Products, carrot. Let's put it back to its rightful name. and save. So now everything works as expected. There's at least one thing that can be optimized in our project. Notice what happens when we don't edit any record and simply press exit. Open carets, exit. As you can see, the refresh happens even when we don't save the record. We can optimize this by telling the calling form if a save was done or not. Back to the designer. If we check out the exit button, it's easy to see that it simply closes the form. If we look out into the save button, Kalipso closes the form, but advanced options are enabled and the value 1 is returned to the calling form. This means we can capture this value in the show form. In our table, where we open the form, we've already specified values to the local variables of the form we're about to open, and it's possible to specify the targets for the returned values. Let's add temporary variable 1 as a target, but let's refresh it. Let's rename it to refresh. So this means that after the show form, we can evaluate the value of the variable, and we know that if it equals 1, the user presses the save button and we should refresh. So we want to, if temporary variable refresh equals 1, do the execute event. Save and test. Products, carrots, well, some random changes. Save, it refreshes. Click exit, and everything stays the same. So now we only refresh the table if the user has pressed the save button. We have successfully created a form to edit a record. How can we take advantage of the already built form and use it to also input new records? Well, the interface it's already built, so we just need to adjust the behavior. Why not take advantage of the local variable in product code? We can assume that if it's not filled, the form shouldn't load any record. So let's do that. So if local variable in product code equals nothing, do nothing. Otherwise, we do the select. Next step, how shall we give the user the ability to define if he wants to create or edit a record? Well, let's create a pop-up menu. So when the user clicks on the table, we will show a pop-up menu with options, new, and edit. As you can see, Kalipso automatically creates actions to figure out which option was selected by the user. To do it so, he uses the pop-up keyword, which holds the index of the select option. So we need to move all the actions we have to pop-up equals 2, and let's copy paste the show form in the refresh to pop-up equals 1. Let's remove the specification of the product code and save. Let's test. Let's start by checking if the edit option works as before, so edit. Let's put back the name of the carrots, save. So everything is working as before. And now let's try the new option. And the form opens empty. So all we need now is to manage the save button, which for now it's only updating existing records. You might remember that Kalipso was already managing the insert or update of the record. We've commented those actions and only left the update. I'm going to start by copying the same validation we do in the opening of the form. You can see that I'm selecting alternate actions, holding Control, and then selecting the action I want. So I'm going to copy, back to the button. Now we paste. Okay, it's time to rearrange and uncomment our actions. Let's read our script to understand it. If we are entering a new product, we check if it already exists. If it does, we need to give a message to the user. So let's expand the update and move it to the else. And all the rest, move it to the if and uncomment. The shortcut to uncomment, it's exactly the same to comment, Control B. Again, if we are entering a new product, we need to check if it already exists. If it does, let's give a message to the user. Message box. Product already exists. And of course, we cancel the execution so the user can perform all the changes he needs. If the product doesn't exist, the new product that it's being entered doesn't exist, we insert it on the database. If we are editing a product, we simply update just like before. You might be wondering at this time, how is Kalipso checking if the product exists? Well, Kalipso is using the lookup function, which can be edited by placing the cursor above its name and pressing F2, the same shortcut to access actions. This function returns true if the record exists and false otherwise. As you can see, it checks the existence of records on table products that verifies the condition of the column code being equal to the value on input code. Save, and finally, we need to, when the form opens, if we are entering a new product, enable the input code. So we want the set property action and say, okay, input code should be editable so that the user can enter the product code he wants to create. Save and test. Let's start by checking out if the edit still works as before, since we've tempering the save button. Again, some random stuff. Save, working, and now new. Let me specify one that already exists. You can see that I'm now able to edit the product code. Let me call it demo and save. Product already exists. Save, and everything is working as expected. Our product is created successfully. To finish it up, our form to edit the records and let me open so you can see it, we should replace input family by a combo box. So let's go back to the designer and start by deleting input family. Now let's copy paste the combo already used before in the other form. We need to be careful when copy pasting between forms because all the actions come along with the control. In our case, we can see that Kalipso tells us this control table products no longer exists, at least in the current form. Since we don't need these actions, we can simply delete them. Another thing we don't need is the custom option we've added to this combo, so we can just specify no. Now we need to put the combo in its right place. We can do that using Kalipso's alignment feature. Alignments on Kalipso are always done in the following way. You start by selecting the control or controls you want to align, and then we select the line type. So I want this combo to have the width of this reference control. Now I want to align it by the left of this control, and now I want to align it by the top of label family. Okay, now we need to refresh the combo in order to fill it with all the families, so that the user can then select one of the families. Refresh control, combo families, and we want it to do it regardless of the mode we are opening the form. So it doesn't matter if we are entering for a new product or to edit an existing product. We always want the combo to be filled with all the families. And now remember that we've deleted a control and we have replaced it by another. What about the actions that were using the deleted control? Well, we can search for it. Edit, find, and we want to search for input family. I'll search only in the current form and only actions, and of course only actions content. There's no need for us to check input family in the actions name. Search, and there you go. Kalipso lists all actions making reference to input family. We can now double click them and access them directly. Notice that Kalipso highlights the occurrences of the search value and even displays the number of hits. So all we have to do is switch the usage of the deleted input family and use combo families. Do the same thing here. And of course, do the same thing in the select entry where we switch from the deleted to combo. So we can search it again just to make sure nothing was left. As you can see, it doesn't exist any reference to input family now, so it's time to test it again. To make sure it's working, let's select the family beverages. Let's edit Pepsi Cola, and we can see beverages is selected. If we select meat and beef ribs, we see the meat family. And of course, all the families are here, so at any moment we can switch family. When we try to put a new product, all the families are there, but none is selected. Congratulations, you've concluded the tutorial about editing data. See you on the next one.